Good morning. Hi, I'm Ken Jaskowitz. I'm Chef Ken here. I've been here for about 3 years. Some of you know me, some of you don't, but I've been in the restaurant business for 25 years now, and I've been a chef for about 15, and I did something I really enjoy, and I enjoy showing people how stuff is done, and I think we're going to have some fun here today. Today we're doing one of my favorite things, which is fresh pastas. I love fresh pastas. They're kind of hard to actually serve in restaurants because they're so, they're both time consuming and you pretty much got to use them when you do them. That's part of why we're kind of at the last minute now, because I'm actually was making the pastas we're going to be eating today in back for you guys until right at the last minute, because the fresher it is, the better it is. Now, a lot of people think that fresh pasta is like better than dry pasta. It's really not. It's different. You use different sauces with fresh pastas than dry pastas. You treat them a little differently. They're just a completely different product. But I really love them. I eat them myself all the time. They're easy to do, even if you don't have a pasta maker, which I do have a pasta maker, which makes them a little easier. I am, in the course of today, going to demonstrate both ways to do it. For our first course, we're going to start off with a angel hair pasta, or a tallarini as it's also called, which is a real fine noodle. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook that with some broccoli, and then make a real light sauce with some olive oil, a little bit of garlic, a little fresh diced tomatoes. It's a very fresh, tasty course. I think you'll really like it. It would be good for like a nice light lunch, or a first course for a dinner. We need some. We're going to start off with an egg and some flour, which you're going to bring me in a second. Unfortunately, I forgot it. It's kind of hard to make pasta without flour. And we'll go ahead and give that a quick shot in the processor. Now at this point we could add a little olive oil to it, which would make it a little lighter. Or if we want to make a flavored pasta, at this point we'd put in, we could put some herbs in here. Or in the case of the pasta we'll see a little later, put some paprika in to make like a red pasta, or put some tomato paste in. Okay, so for our 1 egg, we're going to start with about 3/4 cup of flour, a little bit less, because we can. It's always easier to add more. Once again, we have a nice bowl. Go ahead, bring it over here. Set our pasta machine on 0. That's our widest width. Put a little flour on the cutting board here. Take our crank. And we're going to crank our pasta right through here. We're going to fold it in thirds like this. Dredge it in the flour again. Run it through. Go ahead and I'll do that one more time. And what that's doing is kneading the dough. If we didn't have a pasta machine, we'd knead it by hand. Or another option is we'd wrap it and let it sit for about an hour to let the gluten develop in the flour, which the gluten is the protein that's in flour that gives things its strength. But since we have the pasta machine, we'll go ahead and run it through there about 5 times like that. That'll take care of the kneading and give us a nice pasta. We'll once again coat it with a little flour. We'll now move the maker to the number 2 setting.
Does each setting make it thinner?
Yes, yes. In each setting, we're stretching the pasta a little thinner. So, like right now, we've just done 4. If we wanted to make a spaghetti, we'd stop here. And then when you run through the cutters, you'd have a nice thick pasta. Now we're hitting 5, which I would use sometime for some types of ravioli and for soup noodles. Sometimes I'll go on 5 if I want them a little on the thick side. And now we're hitting 6, which is what we want to take it to for the angel here. And we get a very thin, long sheet of pasta at that point. Alrighty, as you see, we now have our thin sheet of pasta. I'm going to use this here spatula. Okay. We're going to let those sit there for a minute, and they'll kind of form a film over them while they're sitting there. And we need that when we cut it so that they form separate pastas. If you cut it right now, it wouldn't cut completely through, and you'd still have like a sheet of pasta. While we're waiting for that to film over, what I'm now going to do is break some of the broccoli florets here and put them in our pasta water. So we're going to be cooking the pasta in. Hit it with a little salt. And now we're going to let those boil for about 5 minutes. That's fine. Okay, while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and prepare the rest of our sauce. We're going to take a tomato. In this case, I'm just using a standard 5x6 tomato. And I'm going to remove the seeds, but I'm not going to worry about peeling it, because in this case I want the flavor of a really fresh tomato. And the peeling, if you peel it, you're going to get too much cooking for what I'm really looking for here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the peeling on. And now I'm going to grab a couple garlic, and I'm going to slice them real thin. And it's going to look like a lot of garlic for this amount of pasta, but the thing with garlic is the more physical damage you do to the garlic while you're preparing it, the stronger the flavor is, because the actual flavor of garlic comes from 2 different chemicals that mix together. So if you just slice the garlic, you won't have as much flavor as if you mash the garlic or use a garlic press or something like that. So in this case, I want a noticeable garlic flavor, but a kind of a mellow flavor, so I'm going to go ahead and slice the garlic, and that'll give me a more of a mellow flavor. So we'll go ahead and slice it up like that.
Now, Chuck, if I were to mash that, because I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
What's the difference? What happens when you mash it as opposed to just cutting?
The big difference is there are 2 different chemicals that mix together to create the garlic flavor. And the more you do to the garlic, the more those chemicals mix together and the stronger they are. The less damage you do to the garlic, the more mild the flavor is. So, for example, there's a classic French recipe that's a chicken cooked with 30 cloves of garlic. Now, that would seem to be ridiculously oppressive, but since you use whole cloves of garlic, the flavor doesn't get that strong. It permeates the chicken, but it's not unbearable. Now we're going to take a skillet here. And heat a little olive oil. About a half cup there for a single serving. We'll check our pasta, which has now developed a nice little film on it. So you just get that beautiful pasta like that. And it's so quick. I will admit, I've got my money out of this machine here. I've pretty much worn it out, and it's about the third one I've had. So now we're going to go ahead and drop it in our boiling water here. We're going to drop our tomatoes in, a little pepper, a little salt. And actually we'll go ahead and kill that right there. Let's see if they're ready to go. Go ahead and cut a chiffonade of basil real quick here. And that's it. Our pasta's cooked that quick. That's the beauty of the fresh pasta. It cooks almost as soon as it hits the water. And since we cooked it with the broccoli here like this, it's picked up the flavor of the broccoli, and it's absolutely spectacular in my opinion. And we're going to go ahead and give it a quick toss. Go ahead and plate it. And we're going to top it with a little of this fresh feta cheese here. Goat cheese would be another good option for this. And there we go. There's our finished product. Right there. Thank you.